This week, we discuss how Athena is and isn't coping with her trauma.
How Buck finally gets some closure via derailment.
And how Buck and Eddie are co-parents attached at the hip.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddie System, a 911 yapathon hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind. This episode is brought to you by Camp Ouija Wagon. Edie-idiodio-hoo. Welcome.
I love just looking over at Sil, like when we just start and she's already ready to leave.
Already done. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week? I liked that take. I don't want to do another one.
I want death. This week, we're discussing Season 3, Episode 18, What's Next? Surely, what is next?
Season 4.
Oh, right. I should be more excited for that.
Yeah.
This episode was written by Juan Carlos Cotto and Kristen Rydell, directed by Jennifer Lynch. The director of photography is Joaquin Cedillo. It originally aired May 11, 2020.
And we have one call of the week. All Abby board.
You're welcome.
I know you're confused because Rachel opened and I'm doing this part. It's because Sil and I both refused to do
Edie-idiodio-hoo, whatever that was.
Because I said I would say it like Edie-idiodio-hoo.
I was just a girl for the job.
Yeah, and I think I would have just like stumble over my words a lot more than usual.
I practiced.
Also, Sil, do you think maybe you get tongue twisted because you're switching from a Spanish name to an American name, and then when you're in Spanish, you're in a faster mode, and then you switch to English and it's slower, and then you have to switch?
Probably. Probably.
Oh,
bilingual problems.
It is bilingual problem.
One day we'll just have you read it all in Spanish.
There's something about like the sound of well, I don't think any of the names have this problem. Did I say Rydell correctly?
You did,
yeah.
Okay, because that might have been an issue.
Pronouncing other names in Espanol.
Yeah, no, because there's this there's I don't know what to call it really, but it's when you're putting the I and the E together and it makes like a yeah sound, and like I get tongue twisted there for some reason. But when I'm saying Spanish words, I can't for some reason. Anyway, Spanish corner with Sil is done. We're done. Continue with all Abby aboard.
Yes, all Abby board.
Board.
Abby board. Yeah.
Sounds like Ouija board.
Well, they both have bad juju, so. A set of loose train tracks cause a devastating derailment of a train crashing into an RV park. Forward dispatcher Abby Clark, who happens to be a train passenger, finds herself on the other side of the 911 call for once and contacts dispatch about the emergency. My general thoughts. No more cancer! Yay!
Thank God.
Abby! Boo.
This episode summed up as
party.
They really brought her back to like have resolution for Buck, and she just was like, yes, girl, give us nothing. No apology. No accountability. I'm just really glad it's the last time we have to see her. Other than that, I think it's a really good episode.
You know what? I'm glad. No cancer. And we finally get like a party at the end, because what the fuck was this season?
We deserved that party.
It's a party where Buck didn't even almost bleed out at.
Mm-hmm.
Growth.
Nobody almost died at the party.
He almost took Eddie's eye out.
Never mind.
He did.
Just slapping him in the face with his balls.
Anyway, jokes aside, this episode did feel, after so many episodes of depression, after so many episodes of depression and cancer and all the awful things and just sad and all the sad, maybe a little hint of hopeful, but mostly sad, and someone getting buried alive. What else? fucking happened. Just sad
so
and depression.
many, just like very good quality episodes, but just like bummer after downer after bummer after. Oh my God. The red episode was just like
right after Eddie begins.
Yeah, everything was just like hit after hit after hit, but in like the worst possible way, and in my emotions and in my feelings.
Like you kept trying to get back up, and 911 was just like no, just kept stepping on their necks.
But my point being is that this episode actually felt like the most 911 episode. I felt like we were so back,
and then they went on hiatus.
They gave us a little bit of whimsy, and then all right, bye, see you.
Yeah.
When did they pick up again?
A long
January,
because of COVID. So, but yeah, no, I think it's one of the better episodes of season 3. Well, I mean, it is also the finale, but I mean, I think it's a good finale for
it is
what it's worth. Yeah, I enjoy it.
I do too. I think because we watched it all together at least once, and I think I said like it just feels so 911-y.
You did in fact say that,
which is a new word that we're adding to the Buddy System dictionary. So I think it. Huh?
Spreadsheet.
Yes. So yeah, I think it was like a quintessential like 911 emergency, and I liked that it was kind of so much was happening with the emergency, but it was also very pertinent to our characters. And I like that for once in this season, the bad things weren't necessarily happening to them. It was more like on the outside, but we saw a lot more of that like interconnectivity that I think, been kind of missing in some of these episodes from 3B specifically. Not that it was bad, but I think we were just like, we miss when we see them all together, which I think, a big emergency like this is good to do, is bring them all together. And then they got to like party and be happy. And I think we as the audience needed to see that as well. Like it is a treat for us. It was a reward.
I don't know what this says, so maybe you can infer with the comment that I'm about to make. But like, I do enjoy when the like finale emergencies are just maybe like the first half of the episode, and then we focus on the actual character stuff,
like wrapping it up.
Yes. I thought the pacing was really good in this as well. Like I was thinking as I was watching it again, and I was like, would this have benefited from like an extended, like if this was a 2-episode emergency? And I was like, I don't think it would. I think it's really nicely contained in this one episode. Because then if we had expanded it, we would have gotten more backstory on like the other passengers on the train. But I think like they gave us that backstory that was necessary in very succinct ways, because like they did that with the tsunami, where it was like the Russian something effect that I forget it at the moment.
Rashomon.
Thank you. I've said it so many times this season and I forgot.
I know, that's why I remember it.
Thank you. So it's like we didn't have to do that for this one, but it was still effective in bringing like kind of the personality of these people across. And I think it did honestly kind of help that like we knew Abby. So like they didn't have to establish her.
Yeah.
And therefore they also didn't really have to establish Sam either. Right. So just like everything was very well paced, very effective. They used their timing effectively, I think.
Yeah, I think the timing, like pacing of it reminds me of Worst Day Ever, because that's also like a major emergency, right? Which takes up like a good chunk of the episode, but it's still very Bobby focused.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like that emergency needed to be more than that one episode, even though it's like a gigantic emergency.
That was like the first big emergency of season 1, because they didn't have like a typical opening emergency. That was established later.
Yeah, but they're both like mass casualty events, which needed, all of the things to be there that she's listing in her call. But I think it's that they both do well contained in the one episode that they're in.
Yeah, I think it's just a good finale. It gives you the action. It gives you the heart. It gives you the emotional like closure that you need for a lot of these characters, while also pretty well setting up like these open-ended Like, it doesn't set up exactly what's going to be happening next, but it gives you like the options are available. Like the doors are completely open. So, because sometimes they give you like a specific track that they're going to be going down. Sorry, train joke. There's going to be a lot of them. But they didn't, they leave it pretty open-ended. I think the most like solidified one is Chimney and Maddie, but like you don't know what the pregnancy is going to bring. You just know like that's where their story is headed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of that made sense. Okay, good. Sometimes I feel like what is the quote? Like, sometimes I don't know where my sentence is going. I just hope I find it along the way. Is that a Michael Scott quote?
I don't know, but sounds like something you would say. So
correct. Yes. All right. I think those are the thoughts, generally speaking.
We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
Chugging right along into deep dive.
Oh my God. Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So because this is the season finale, of course, there are a lot of articles that come with that. I found a bunch of them, and like always, we'll have them linked in our episode description or in the comments on YouTube, pinned in our comment section. But there's so many articles. I don't have quotes from all of them, and a lot of them were talking about the same sort of stuff. So it's usually interviews with Tim Minear, and there were some with Oliver Stark as well. So I basically pulled quotes regarding 3 things. So one was Athena's recovery, one was Abby's return, and one was Buck's closure. So about Athena's recovery, TV Insider, or in the TV Insider article, which was, in the TV Insider article, the interviewer, and I didn't write down who this was, sorry. The interviewer said, Athena is thinking about her future as a cop. How much is she going to struggle with the decision to return to the job in the same capacity as before? And Tim Minear said she's going to struggle. Athena has never felt like a victim, really, and being put in that very vulnerable position and realizing that she's in fact not invulnerable, that she's not immortal, has really shaken her. She's going to have to grapple with that for a while, but it's going to bring her to a different place, but a very satisfying place. And then he says that he doesn't think what happened to Athena will only have affected Athena. We're talking about Bobby, a man who has a new family, who lost a family in the past, and he's going to start to feel very protective. And I think we see that like start to come across. Going forward, I only see Athena and Bobby's relationship getting stronger, no matter where they end up going, no matter what they end up going through. It's only going to serve to make them stronger. I think that just makes sense. They are like the ship.
Yeah.
The ship of all times. But to that extent, like we do see Bobby start getting extra protective of his family. And we see Athena start to like, weigh kind of like some of her identity with that, right? And so talking about Abby's return, this is also one of the interviewers asked, what came first, the details of the accident, including Abby's part, or that in some way the finale would include her return? So Tim Minear said, and I found this really, really funny and just kind of like, look at how things fall into place sometimes. He said, interestingly enough, the train derailment and the return of Abby came around the same moment. Somebody, and he says it could have been Chris Monfett or Kristen Rydell, one of them, had pitched, what if the penultimate episode of the season, Maddie gets a call from a derailed train and on the other end of the line is Abby? Then we could bring her back and give Buck some closure with her in the middle of an accident. So it just kind of like combined. And those 2 ideas came hand in hand. And he said literally the next day after that was pitched to him, there was a party for the 100th episode of American Horror Story. And he ran into Connie Britton. And he was with Angela Bassett. So they said to Connie Britton, you know what? I'm just going to ask her. And he said, we double teamed Connie, but Connie immediately agreed and said, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to come back. It was as simple and like lightning striking all at once. So just one of those, like, I guess if you don't ask, you'll never know. like the worst someone can say is no. And it just kind of like happenstance happened at the right time. Now, talking about Buck getting closure from Abby, Tim said that they were very specific and particular throughout season 2 to not drop the Abby story, even though they didn't have Connie Britton. So a lot of Buck's story from the first half of season 2 was him still living in her place. And he said it's interesting because a lot of things you do because production necessitates it, right? So he says you lose an actor, so she can't be on your show. You can't afford to build a new set of a character for a character. So he stays in Abby's house. So it sort of became the story. Buck is living in a relationship with a ghost, and he doesn't realize the relationship is over until long after everyone around him does. So I think that was the first time that I saw that they said, you know, this wasn't just a story choice. This was also a, you know, production, like budgetary, like convenient thing, but it, but they made it work for the story in ways that I think was really good. So I thought that was interesting. And then he continued to say, so that's kind of Buck's story. And I always feel like he needed a moment for her to come back so that he could say, what the hell happened? And we understand that he was the catalyst that allowed her to go off and find herself. It's just that the person she found was not the person who left. And for Buck, he was starting to build a myth in his head that this relationship had fixed him when it in fact had course corrected him. His own growth is his own agency and something that he can take credit for and move forward. Finally. That for me is what that parting moment on the bench is all about and why I thought it was important. And I think this is really interesting too, when he says that if it had come any later than the end of season 3, it probably would have been too late and moot at that point. The
train arrived on time.
It sure did. Choo choo. And then the last little bit about Buck and the train. Tim said that the train is a metaphor for Buck. Buck felt like maybe he'd been derailed from the track he was on. What he learned from Abby was he's still on his journey. So I thought those were all very interesting. And just the fact that like they were so conscious about keeping Abby in season 2, like kind of haunting his narrative. Like they were conscious about it, about doing that, and that they needed to have Buck have the closure with Abby at some point, and any longer than this would have just been him in that kind of stasis for way too long.
Yeah.
So to have like that kind of ticking clock on it is very interesting. All right. So then just a little bits and bobs about production. So this episode was co-written by Juan Carlos Cotto and Kristen Rydell. Both Juan Carlos Cotto and Kristen Rydell were very involved in the opening emergency with the tsunami as well. Like the big emergencies. I think I mentioned last time we had an episode with Juan Carlos Cotto that he's involved in when all the things go really wrong. So Juan Carlos Cotto wrote 302, Sink or Swim, and Kristen Rydell wrote 301, Kids Today. So it's kind of, I love having like those bookends, like the people that worked really big with the opening emergencies, the closing emergencies. Similarly, Jennifer Lynch, who directed this episode and has also directed some of the other Begins episodes. It was Chimney Begins and Bobby Begins Again and Hen Begins. So Jennifer Lynch directed the season opener too. So the one that Kristen Rydell also wrote for 301. So again, just like nice sandwich bookend sort of thing. And I know we'd been kind of wondering and contemplating like how the COVID procedures and everything, because this was airing in early 2020. And we were like, how did that affect production? And I hadn't known until I finally saw a quote and I was like, oh, good. So this is from Deadline. And the interviewer from Deadline said, you seemed lucky that production on the show on the finale wasn't hit by the COVID-19 shutdown. And Tim said, we literally stepped right through the raindrops on this. We finished production on both 911 Lone Star and 911 right before it all happened. So he said that he was actually had been editing post on the last 8 episodes from home. He stopped going to the lot almost right when they finished airing Lone Star and started working on post for 911 to finish the 8 episodes. It all sort of stacked up. They finished shooting everything, and because of technology, they were allowed to continue from their shelter in place and quarantines at home. So he's been working with his editors online, and he said at this point, which was, May of 2020, that they've reconvened their writer's room, which I thought was very early as well.
I just wonder how differently they did things at Fox versus ABC, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like they pretty much finished filming a little earlier March.
I would say early March.
Which kind of tracks, because I remember for Eddie Begins, we had that like pinpoint that they had started filming that in like the first week of January. So like that would kind of work out that they still had 3 episodes. So they needed, what was it? Like 3 months? Yeah. So that kind of makes sense.
So pattern wise, it does feel like they take like a 2-month break before the writer's room reconvenes, because that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is like a little earlier than I've seen writer rooms commencing. But I'm also wondering, because he was so involved in both Lone Star and 911 that they had to like come back earlier so he could pull double duty. I'm not positive on that though, because he was basically in the writer's room for 2 shows. So, you can only do so much at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a little bit about the set for the train derailment, that they did use actual train cars. And the one that was like perpendicular, the one up in the air that fucking Eddie and Bobby are in, was rigged on a crane. And Peter Krause said that he thought they were actually going to have to climb up into the train car as it was originally placed. And it's like, no, they're not going to do that. Like, obviously it would be stabilized for them because they're putting it there with the cranes, but that's a dangerous. So what they ended up doing was a set was built at a lower angle. So probably just like that section of the car. Yeah. Which would be a lot shorter, which would be great. Yeah. It was built at a lower angle, leaving the actors to sweat out the appearance of a steep rescue. So they had to I think it was still on an angle.
Well, yeah.
But they had to make it look like they were climbing all the way through. I mean, they did, but
it probably wasn't that steep of an angle. It was probably
movie magic,
camera angles.
Yeah, and then they just had to when
act like it was
when they're going between the seats and just kind of have to hop onto the next one, like gravity is taking over. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. I like learning a little bit about how they build some of these really big emergency sets. And I know from the tsunami that they like to do so much physical on the set sort of stuff rather than green screeny. So now you know. I don't have a Buckipedia section, so the more you know. So we can drop that needle just like they tried to drop that brake on the train. I'm trying.
Oh boy. Okay, so not a lot to get into lyrics wise here, but just a couple little funny ha-has and then just a good choice in general. So they really leaned into the train theme here for the 2 needle drops that happened during the emergency or pre and during the emergencies. Because while Abby is, when it flashes back to her, in the drink car, they're playing Mystery Train by Elvis Presley.
Train.
Yeah.
I love that one.
And then when they're in the RV park before the accident, and this is in-universe music that the father is listening to, I think, while working on the RV, it's Party Train by the Gap Band. So they literally just said, Google songs about trains.
I mean, how could they not include? There's so many songs about trains. How could they not?
Yeah. So those made me giggle. And then just a good choice for May's graduation party. It kicks off with Let's Groove by Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's one other song, but we're going to talk about that in scene dissection. Yes, we have one of those today.
Yay.
Be excited.
The return of the scene dissection. Because everybody was together.
Yes.
Thank God.
I love how I let the episode play, the next one, so 401, and I love how it opens with another Earth, Fire, and Wind song, September.
Oh,
so like they close it and the kind of
yeah.
Wait, that's
nice.
That is nice.
Someone was having an Earth, Wind, and Fire era.
I was in my Earth, Wind, and Fire era this summer.
Music department
at the Hollywood Bowl. I went to their 4th of July spectacular.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That seemed like it would have been really fun.
A lot of fun.
It was
yeah.
fun, yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome.
Back to you, Rachel.
Should we start doing that now? like we're bringing you the news.
We can't do it every time or it'll just really not be funny at all. And Syl will leave us.
Syl has the best newscaster voice though. Like
she does.
Let's be real.
You just need to give it to me scripted, but I need to read it first.
Let's see. Sorry, I don't have a Buckipedia thing for you guys
today.
Tomato.
I'm sorry. Did you want me to look up stuff about trains?
No, please don't.
That wouldn't. I mean, I guess it'd still be Buckipedia, but that would just be neurodivergent corner.
Yeah,
I don't need to learn about trains.
No, it's okay. I don't have the train hyperfixation.
My sponsored by idea, but you already had stuff there, was just like this episode brought to you by Amtrak. Because that had to be Amtrak. There's no other trains in the United States.
I was like, maybe I should have looked up
which Amtrak derailment was that? Because I'm sure it happened like a couple years ago. There was something.
There's derailments like often, but it's not normally passenger cars.
Yeah, it's usually like cargo.
Yeah, it's normally cargo. And sorry, that was a lie, but like there are obviously other trains, but they aren't like transportation trains. They're like, here's a historic train and you can take
I really feel like that derailment was recent.
There was a recent
passenger but like
cargo derailment happened recently.
There was an Amtrak one. I just
recent to the now of the episode?
Probably.
Or are you talking about our now?
No, not our now.
Okay.
Talking about back then, which is not that far off from now.
An Amtrak train crashed into a passenger vehicle 3 days ago.
Oh. No, there was a derailment. I do know that.
List of accidents on Amtrak. Oh, goody. Oh, just like with a death count, an injury count. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Most recent 2022.
That sounds is that after?
That's after. This was
after
2020.
This.
But maybe
2020 September 2021.
2021.
Yeah. But that wasn't as bad as the one in 2022. 150 people injured. 4 people died. And the one in 2021 was 50 people injured. 3 people died. And there was one in 2018, which maybe is what inspired them. But that was a collision, not a derailment.
Wait, so some of these derailments were after the episode? So that thing that happens with
those
Tim?
2 bad ones were both derailments that I just listed from 2021 and 2022.
What is Tim doing?
Derailment.
So Tim is a prophet anyways. I mean, trains, that happens to trains like
or a wizard.
He writes something and then it happens in real life. That's
like I know
my dude.
Train derailments, they happen fairly with some frequency, but like I'm sorry, the B-NATO thing, the earthquake things, like that's just too many coinky dinkies.
There was a derailment in 2017 in DC. That was just from them going too fast.
Oh.
I'm not seeing anything like derailed because of a loose track. So I think
is it based off a movie?
Probably.
That would make more sense for him. But I'm sorry. He writes something and then it happens.
Track defect, 2004. Mississippi. But like that's the most recent one I can find due to a track. No. Besides the 2021 one, but that was after this came out.
Anyway.
Interesting. That's your Buckipedia moment.
The more you know. It was a group project this time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've connected the dots.
You didn't connect shit.
There were just like a couple little things I thought to point out. One was, the return of our favorite thing, color theory, which I know we don't always really like hone in on and don't always point out, but sometimes it just like is a glaring neon sign when you notice it. So when Buck and Abby are having their closure conversation on the bench, Buck is wearing red, which we have talked about and we know is like his color. That is the color of Buck when he is feeling like himself and kind of in his power. And notably, he wore red when he was writing that letter to Abby in season 2, episode 7, Haunted. You know, when he was like being like, you're my ghost story and I just have to like let you go. So I thought that was interesting that they had him in red for both of these like non-breakup closure convos, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we saw him in red a lot more this season because he was dealing with so much where he wasn't feeling himself. But I remember I did mention it with the tsunami, like his pink shirt. But when it got wet, it looked red when he was like doing what he felt like his purpose was and what he wanted to do, which was saving people. So just kind of like those 3 big moments for him, I think is interesting to kind of like look at together in that context, including the bench closure convo. And then just a little bit of foreshadowing specifically for May, because I know we're going to be talking about her a lot more in season 4. Very excited about. And season 9.
And 5.
And 5. No, but I was thinking like, because we're going to be doing 4 and 9 is happening at the same time. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
Just like concurrently when we're covering it. So something about May being kind of like reticent about having the graduation party. There was another quote I found from Tim, and the interviewer was asking, you know, what can you tell us about what May was asking Maddie at the very end, like during the graduation party? And Tim said, check out that first scene with Athena where she's giving Michael hell about busting up her fireplace. May keeps going, we don't have to have a party. And you can see there's something going on with May where she maybe doesn't feel so comfortable having this big celebration about going to USC. So you can already see like they had a plan for May and kind of like very gently laying the groundwork there, which is really interesting to see like some of May's growth and trajectory over the course of season 3, which I think we'll talk about more in our season 3 wrap. But just kind of like, oh, she didn't really want a party. She was like, no, it's okay. And then Athena was just like, we're having that party and you're going to be happy about it. But anyways, just a little foreshadowing. Like they dropped some of those breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Okay.
Back to you now, Han.
God. All right, so just a few themes to talk about today. The ones I noticed were just like the very obvious ones. The episode title is "What's Next," which I extrapolated to mean like moving on and moving forward, which every character is doing in some way. And I kind of broke that down into like 2 categories, which is like either new beginnings or closure with things. So like if you want to go down the character list, every single person falls into one of those 2 categories. So you have Buck getting closure. You have Eddie kind of having new beginnings because like he's got to figure out what to do with himself.
Oh, God.
Because Chris is going to be gone the whole summer. Then we have Bobby and Athena both kind of having like this new beginning, new chapter of their relationship where like she's going to be home all the time and a civilian. And obviously like May is going to have a new beginning, which they already hinted at, like Rachel just said. Who else? Hen, new beginning with the doctor thing and
med school.
Getting ready for med school, getting ready to take her MCATs. And then we have Maddie and Chimney, literally new beginnings
Of life. Yeah.
And Josh too. Josh actually kind of
He gets closure.
Yeah. I think that's everyone.
I think Athena is doesn't quite get closure about the attack, but she's like on that track.
Trail?
No, I'm sticking with track. Thank you very much. I don't do it on purpose, but I realize, again, I don't know where my sentence is going. I just know it's going to end up at its destination somewhere. It's going to pull into the station.
Okay.
All right.
I said I've given up on life. Please continue.
She's just following the pre-designed route, like a train, and seeing where she ends up.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Please say the rest of them.
You're just a passenger on the train. Okay. So we've seen this. We've seen Your Voice Matters a number of times. This is specifically comes into play for Josh, I think, most notably. We see it also, or we've seen it with Chimney as well, and a few other characters, but I think this one is like a nice closeout for Josh with the Your Voice Matters when he's giving his statement in the courtroom.
Straightment.
I was starting to say stateroom, courtment, and that's not correct.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm trying.
Go.
Okay. And then additionally, I think we mentioned this a little bit before, like with these new beginnings, and because this is a season finale and it's been such a kind of heavy, depressing season, a lot of this episode is like what the dad and the kid from the RV park, what they keep saying is the keep your head up. So look on the bright side, which is also connected to Just Keep Swimming, but like Just Keep Swimming as in a more positive light sort of thing, like just keep swimming and look towards the good things. I think we've really needed that like positivity. And we've talked about new perspectives a lot, or like gaining new perspectives, changing your perspective. And I think this is finally the moment where like everyone is pretty much like looking at things in a more positive light, looking at the silver lining, especially Michael, who's been so kind of like prepare for the worst. He's finally like looking on the bright side. And then we have, trusting your instincts or self-doubt. We see that a lot with Athena, also Abby, because they don't know how to trust their instincts when Athena is looking to be back in the field. But Abby was also like, I didn't know if I could trust myself being back here with Buck, and a bunch of other things. And then also notably, like I know we've had timing being an important factor and an important theme in specifically the back half of season 3. I think this one is a kind of like spin on that, where it's like taking the time to heal. So previously, where we felt like there's been a time constraint, like a rush against the clock sort of thing, this episode is like, it's okay to not be okay right away. You can take some time to heal, to get closure, to move on, right? So kind of, yeah, like there's no time limit for certain things necessarily. And then, of course, very noticeably, we have parent-child relationships, just like the entire season. Do I have to get further into that? Just like we have the dad and the kid from the RV park. We have
now everyone has a kid.
Now everybody has a kid. We have
you get a kid and you get a kid. This is the Buckley's getting a kid season.
Yeah, we have Harry and May. We have Christopher going to camp. We have Denny and Nia for Hen and Karen. Just like everybody gets kids. Everybody knows how everybody gets to feel, everybody gets to be a parent and establish those different kind of relationships, and kids growing up, but also kids. This one really had the parents being the parents, which I kind of appreciated, because so much of it has been like the kids kind of being the parents. But we'll talk about all of the themes again a little bit in our season 3 wrap, but you know what they are by now, I hope.
Yep.
We've been talking about them for 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Just lots of parents, lots of kids. There you go.
Who's cooking? All right. I don't have a train pun for this, so let's talk about Josh.
Josh gets some closure.
Yay for him.
I'm so proud of him.
Me too. So at the end of the last episode, we see him decide to like actually go through with giving his statement in the courtroom. And we get to see like Maddie reading over the statement. And she's like, hey, like, I can tell exactly what you went through and like all of the details. They're great. But I don't know how you feel. So he takes that into account and then gives a really good statement, which is basically a giant fuck you, which is basically just like the vibes of I Bet You Think About Me by Taylor Swift.
Oh, that's a good song for him. We need to remember that when we someday.
When we get to the Red album in a million years. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it is really interesting that Josh's initial statement that he drafted up was so like divorced from himself, which we see later Dr. Sanford tell Athena, which because Athena is doing the same thing for herself as well, just like distancing the events from her, from either of their personhoods, right? Like this is the thing, very factual. This is the thing that happened
to someone else. Like they're writing an incident report.
And just like there's no
emotion
in there because the emotion is too raw and too tough to deal with, which is like completely understandable. But sometimes I think it does help for Josh that Maddie pointed that out. And he says like, you know, I don't think they allow cursing in the courtroom, which is what he would actually feel. But I think the way that he structured his statement was like really beautiful because Maddie said like, this moment is about you. This moment is about Josh, not what he's supposed to do, which is also something that some other people should be a little extra aware of. You know, some other people who relate to Josh, that's fine. That's all. This is not about Eddie. This is about Josh right now. And it's always about Eddie. A little bit. So what he says is like really poignant, I think, about how Josh gets to leave this courtroom, go and live his life, spend time with friends, move on essentially, and look on the brighter side. Whereas Greg, the guy, will always have to think about Josh and why he is where he is. And I think that is really powerful. So like being able to let go in that way is kind of the perfect closure for him.
Yeah.
Because it's also him recognizing that like he has people who love him.
Yes. I have friends who won't turn on me, who I'm going to go hang out with. You're going to sit in a box. Like he's very catty about it. It's great.
And like him realizing that he doesn't have to be alone either, which was one of the reasons why he got into the whole like online dating thing again. And so it's a nice like growth from that as well.
Great. I'm just on the record again. Give us more Josh storylines because like this is like the Josh storyline.
I know.
Please give us more. They don't have to be huge, but like
he's had a couple like episodic storylines, but we want a little bit of an arc.
Yeah.
Like to
give him a little mini arc every season
to grow his character. It. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be great and timely.
All right. Moving on to Hen and Chimney in their awkward era because, you know, she's just really honing in on getting ready to like get into med school. And Chimney just like cannot bring it, like finds it in himself to be supportive because he hates that she's leaving. But like after everyone gives him a death glare, he's like, you're amazing. Like you don't.
The thing is, though, I think he is supportive of her and like the fact that she wants to go after med school. But he is also letting it be known that he's not happy about it. Like, of course he's going to support her no matter what because he loves her, but he's being like vocal about like, I don't like this.
Yes. Anyway, he's just not being his normal supportive self. Like normally he would be the first
fully
person
supportive.
Yeah, to respond the way that like Eddie, Buck, or Bobby did. But instead, they all say their supportive thing about like how she's amazing and nothing about her is ordinary and she's gonna rock the MCATs. And then everyone turns and stares at Chimney and he's like, like, of course you're gonna like do great. You're amazing. Like
you're gonna do so great that you're going to leave me.
Mm-hmm.
That's because like he knows that he says, you're brilliant. You don't need a test to prove that. And he knows she's going to ace it. But that also means because he knows that it's just like an inevitability that it's just, you know,
a matter of time.
Until she up and leaves him alone. And so he's still dealing with that impending abandonment and is not happy about that, but like knows how great Hen is. And she is like singularly focused. Oh my God. She's having Eddie score her test and it was like a 504. I don't know how the scoring works, but she's like, no, it's not good enough. I need to get to a 511 or above because I can't be average. And it's just like, whoa, girl, like pump those brakes. That sounds like it's still a pretty good score. I just keep thinking of like Legally Blonde when she's like taking all the practice tests.
Yeah.
And then they finally get it. She's like, oh, 162 or whatever it was, which I think she soared higher than Sam Winchester on the LSATs canonically, which is hilarious to me.
But yeah, so we do get to see like her perfectionism like pop out.
Yeah.
And she's like, at my age, I'm like, girl, you would be like this even if like you were doing this straight out of college.
At the train emergency, we see Hen and Chimney just working together so seamlessly with helping the kid who has what did they call, like an internal decapitation, which is like
spine is intact, terrifying. But it's not attached to his brain.
Yes. Terrifying to think about.
Which I think is what happens to the kid in season 8, the male cheerleader.
Similar, but I think it's a slightly different but similar thing. It's
well, yes, because like
fracture.
Yeah, but I think it's the
instead
same
of the head,
idea.
it's like the
but it's I think they
part.
called it an internal decapitation. Like I think it's still the same thing.
So they're working so seamlessly together, and you can really see like Hen's medical prowess yet again is just like she's on the ball. She can spot these things that are like so, you know, like things that they don't deal with every day, and she's so intuitive and like well read about all of these very, very rare things that, you know, Chimney said like he sees this happen in car accidents, but he's never seen anybody like speak afterwards. So the fact that like Hen can just kind of pinpoint what they're dealing with so quickly is part of her superpower. And I mean, I love that you can see as Chimney is helping her, basically being like the nurse to her surgeon or whatever. Like he knows that she's going to be so good, like as a doctor, because that's what she's chosen to do. And he knows that she can help people so much in that capacity as well. You can kind of like see it wash over his face, like as they're working on the kid Milo, just kind of like, you know, which is also such a nice turnaround from 308 Malfunction when he was trying to get her back in the game. And it just like wasn't working right. And just to look at these two episodes in that aspect is like, you know, kind of full circle moment.
Yeah.
And I think because after this situation specifically, and he knows that Hen is so kind of like headstrong and steadfast, he finally is like offering up his help, which I think he normally would have done like initially, but he was trying to get over himself and his own issues so much. And she seemed really appreciative of it. In some of those articles where people were talking about or asking Tim about the finale and kind of what's moving forward, some people were asking about is 911, you know, since they have Lone Star, that spinoff, are they going to, you know, explore having some sort of like medical offshoot? Because you know, like the
should.
one Chicago franchise has like the fire, the PD, and the med, and
Grey's
you know,
Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy
had Station 19.
had Station 19. So he said that I think Hen's journey is an interesting one, and I think the thing that interests me is less about the hospital setting and more about this woman at this stage in her life is not willing to stop growing and become more amazing. So it was pretty much like a nah. Like we're not interested in doing that, but I do like how he kind of framed this as Hen seeking out continual personal growth, which is really cool. And just like being able to say that she could do it, which I think is one of the contributing factors to her maybe stubbornness that we'll see in the next season as well.
Yeah. All right. Maddie is kind of a supporting role for 90% of this episode.
Yeah.
She's just there to help Josh through kind of getting ready to do his statement. She's physically there in the room with him while he's giving his statement. Presumably, but we don't see she went out for drinks with him after the statement. Well, and just being a good friend and like, well, she didn't know.
Oh, she didn't know. Never mind. I forgot.
But yeah, it's just, a testament to how good of a friend she is and how supportive she is and how like insightful and empathetic she is. But the big thing that happens for Maddie in this episode is that she realizes via some fish that she's pregnant. Food that normally she loves makes her want to vom while she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
They touch back on this again in season 8.
Yeah, which is like
good continuity.
Cute continuity thing. Yeah, just to talk about Maddie's support of Josh initially, I think it's really nice because she's also, it shows how healed she is like after speaking with Frank, and it's just like a nice culmination to her arc from this season as well, even though it is like she's not front and center, it's a little quieter, but it still shows like how well she's doing, and she's kind of like, she has been able to move on, and now she's helping someone else that she cares about move on, who was also a victim of aggressive like assault, right?
Yeah.
And so she can, and I think that's one of the reasons why Josh holds her opinion so highly as well, is because she's speaking from first person. And I love that she's there in the courtroom to support Josh, because like she doesn't have to go and do that, but like it just shows like what a good friend she is. And also just like really early kind of like foreshadowing of her like yawning and being like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I don't know why. Let me go grab some coffee. It's like, it's already there. And then with Chimney and realizing that they're pregnant is also another like perfect. I love that they end on them too.
Yeah, me too.
Because that is like the most kind of look towards the bright side, sunshiny positivity, what's next that they could end on, right?
Yeah.
And especially for a season that's like so kid focused. And they started out the season talking about kids and like, would they ever want one? And, would they ever feel ready because of their parents and everything like that? So that's also kind of implied in like a, they're going to have to deal with some of this. But it's so cute. It's just really cute. Like it's so
very sweet.
They're both so kind of like shocked but elated at the same time.
Yeah, you can see like Chimney go through like 12 different emotions in the span of like 10 seconds, and then he gets the appropriate one. He gets there because like at first he's like deer in headlights, but then he's like tearful and happy.
Yeah.
But
I think what's important there is because like he's like, you're pregnant, and she's like, no, we're pregnant, and it's like,
yeah,
no, like we're doing this together kind of thing. I think it's like very like reassuring for him, for her to say that.
Like neither of them are alone in this.
Yeah,
because then he repeats it after. It's like, yeah, we're pregnant. It's so heartwarming.
It's so cute.
And it's like, wow, they really, 313 really did a lot for them.
Yeah.
We're assuming that's like I always assume that's
I assume
the
timing wise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like it's just funny because then you think back in episode 1 of the season and they're like, oh, we don't like all of our friends have what was the quote that the only
it's like everyone we know has kids.
Who
doesn't
we
have
Except
who
us.
doesn't?
And who doesn't? Oh, Buck. And then it flashes to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now you guys are gonna have a kid now.
Yeah. Now everybody has a kid.
You have a kid, and you have a kid, and you have a kid.
Look under your seats. There's a kid.
Oh my God. Terrifying. This is the first time in so many episodes that I'm excited to talk about Michael. Why? Because he is
Cured.
done with the cancer.
Well, not cured, but
He's in remission.
yeah.
I think they said it's like shrunk, which isn't technically remission, but it's basically like good news.
Yes. Well, I don't think they ever talk about it again.
Which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Huzzah! We made it.
Yes. But we don't have to talk about cancer anymore. I don't care. That's the takeaway for me. We don't have to talk about it, which means that he doesn't effectively have it.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yep. So yeah,
Just
anyway,
ignoring.
he gets the MRI results. We see that the tumor is shrunken a lot, and he has this great news. And then on the way out of the hospital, while he's like telling Athena this news, he sees David. And then they just get to do a redo of their meet cute and actually set up
elevator meet cute
a date.
Part 2. Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. This is the happiest we've seen Michael since before this cancer storyline, which is so nice because he's a fun kind of character, or he can be when he's not bogged down in all of this I'm gonna die negativity.
How do I fit into the family? Oh my God, I'm gonna die, but it's okay because I wasn't really fitting into the family anyway. It's like you almost see so much of this weight get lifted off of his shoulders, and he's just he has a new lease on life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And for all of his kind of spiraling into preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. It's all of a sudden, it's good news. He wants to know what's next. Let's do this. Life is good. And even when he's on the phone with Athena and it's she says it's a miracle. And he's we're going to tell the kids together, which I also think is an important thing. Yeah. for him to say, because it's we've seen so much of how, sometimes Michael will say things before everyone else is ready. It's also saying that he's ready and willing to be part of the family in this new organization that they have with it. And it's just nice. And he's so bouncing on his in his shoes that he's I'm gonna ask out that hot doctor.
He was smooth about it. He was just hold the elevator.
Hold the elevator.
Where did we left off?
Yeah. It was smooth, actually. Which is so funny because then when they met, it was not smooth.
No.
But he had a whole lot else on his mind. So this is better. This is the Michael that he can be, right?
No, you could see David. He was already tickled by it. So we already knew where that was gonna head. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We know the destination for that. We also see some of the fallout from the fireplace destruction. Oh, yeah. Which is so funny because he's he's an architect. He can put it back together, but also when he doesn't have to stay in the house and face Athena's ire, and so he's just yeah, I'm gonna head out and you guys can deal with that. So funny. And he's so funny. Finally. It's it's actually great that I am not living in the house with the nuclear family because I don't have to be here for the awkward things. Goodbye. Yeah. So it seems like he's finally feeling at peace with where he fits in the family, which is an integral part, but also can dip whenever he wants. It's I don't live here anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to stay here for this. I'm not married to
her.
you.
Bye.
Have fun with that. Have fun, Bobby. And Bobby's probably like, this was your idea. Like,
Yeah.
Bobby has to deal with it.
Oh, we get to see just really quickly, like just the beginning of like Michael and David's date.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of mirrors like
Bobby and Athena.
ending season 1.
Yes, with Bobby and Athena.
Yeah.
That's kind of perfect, too.
Yeah.
Talk about new beginnings.
Yeah. Super cute. Athena.
Oopsie, fireplace all gone.
Listen.
She's going through it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, she's not wrong. She just got back from the hospital after 4 days and like they just decide to like go on a whole remodeling phase, like
without telling her.
Without telling her. House? At her house. And they didn't talk to her about it.
She wanted to come back to like the comfort and normalcy of her house.
She's like,
and like
where's my damn
return
fire?
to business as usual. And it's like her fire, like it's just a fucking demolition zone. And May's like, we don't need to have a party. And she's like, routine. Things should be what they should have been before this. And like she's clinging on to that. So like the fireplace throws her off more than I think it maybe would have.
Because it's well, the fireplace is kind of like a physical manifestation of the mess that she feels inside of herself. So it's like, we know when Athena's life is a mess, when she's feeling a mess, she kind of like goes full Athena. And usually that means putting herself back into her job. She can't do that right now. So she's like, we're going to be the best party host you'll ever see. Like, we're going to have this party. We're going to have people over. It's going to be normal. And you're going to like it. Because it's like, and she keeps apologizing about like when Dr. Sanford comes over and it's like, oh, we've turned into like one of those cable remodeling shows. And it's like that, because that's what she feels inside. So they have to like rebuild the fireplace and she has to rebuild herself and her trust in her instincts. So, and it not necessarily has to be the same because like Michael makes it into a fire pit, which is essentially the same thing, but like it looks different.
It's like, why would she want a fire pit in the middle of her den? Fire pits are not for inside, man.
Well, it's like it's a modern contemporary house. So like thinking 60s, 70s, and you have the conversation pits with like the fireplace. And I think that's what he was going for. Hen did not like it. Karen did not like it.
No one liked
it. Did they actually rebuild the fireplace? I think they did.
I think they do. Just rebuild the fireplace. Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there though. So yeah, Athena is basically pouring herself into, because she can't go back to work right now. She's pouring herself into preparations for May's party, but also preparing for the legal case against Hudson, who's the real estate rapist guy. And she meets with Dr. Sanford, who is cameoed by Brooke Shields.
Sorry, I was Googling. I was trying to Google where have I seen Brooke Shields from, and I was like, that makes sense. It was Jane the Virgin because like the entire time
she's been in everything.
Yeah, no, I just mean like when I first watched the episode, I was like, I recognized her from somewhere. I just didn't know where, and I finally decided to Google it. I was like, oh, it's Jane the Virgin.
Yeah, I love Brooke Shields. I think she's really sweet. Oh, Athena's like preparing to see this victim advocate who is Dr. Sanford, Brooke Shields. And so Athena's like getting all of her little ducks in a row with everybody else's files because she's like, I'm going to also advocate for the other victims, these women who suffered at the hands of this awful, awful guy. And it's just kind of so funny because it's very obvious that Dr. Sanford is like, you didn't think we were coming to talk about you? Okay, but like she rolls with it, which is kind of great. And like kind of in a little expertly kind of uses what Athena is talking about to assess Athena and like make Athena try to think about herself in this situation. And she says kind of like what we said with Josh earlier, that like some victims like distance themselves from the event. So and that's obviously also what Athena is doing, but she's not like aware of it necessarily. And Athena's still trying to be like super independent, like she usually is. Like she opens the door. She says to May, like, no, I'll get it. I still have an arm. She pulls out her chair for her. And it's just like Athena does kind of a little bit have to learn how to lean on others when she can't always lean on herself. And then when she's talking with Dr. Sanford and Sanford is like, or no, at some point Athena, like the light bulb comes on and she's like, oh, you didn't come here to talk about the other women. You came here to talk with me. And it's like, yeah, she did. And Athena still is like, she's almost, it's not quite trivializing her situation, but she's like,
downplaying it because she's like, you know, what happened to them is not what happened to me. And, you know, the doctor is very much correctly going like, I don't like to like compare trauma, like, you know, that like their trauma is worse than your trauma. It's just a different kind of trauma.
Yeah. And Athena is like, you know, the doctor's priority shouldn't be on her. It should be on the others. And it's like Athena is also trying to prioritize everyone else and not her because she has such a hard time like seeing herself as the victim.
She can't like remember it either, which is hard to like process something when you can't remember it.
And I don't think she's used to feeling, I don't want to say like Athena's never weak, right? But she's not used to feeling this powerless, I guess, to pull from the previous episode. And like her brain is like protecting her by blocking out some of these painful memories. But she also says that she's not ready to talk about it. And the doctor takes that, I think, very gracefully. And it's just like, here's your file when you want to, like, she speaks to her very like as an equal and understanding who Athena is. And like, sometimes Athena is a cop first. And so like, that would probably help her brain process to like read through her own file. So she's like, that's fine. I'll be here whenever you are. So just like, here's the information you need. You take the time to kind of like come to terms with that. And then I'll be here for you when you're ready, which is nice. And we see Athena like take some time she starts looking through the files, but like puts it away after a little bit. And we see like a couple little flashbacks. So I'm sure that's trying to insinuate like she's remembering some pieces of it, maybe not necessarily the whole thing. And then she calls Dr. Sanford back at some point when she is a little more ready to talk about it. And she's like, it's still like hazy and not super clear, her memories. But what she remembers is, you know, basically waking up in the ambulance and seeing Bobby's face. And she's so like, her voice is shaking because Athena thought that she was dying because Bobby looked at her like she was dying, which is like kind of a scary thing to have. So like all of the stuff that was going through Athena's mind and all of the stuff that was going through Bobby's mind, it was just like plain as day on his face. So it wasn't like the most comforting thing for Athena to see and remember.
No, it's just, she is just like in this very in between time, you know, and this is a lot of what she is still dealing with at the beginning of next season. So yeah, this is just where she is right now. She's trying to move forward, like try and look at it with a positive light, and as in like not the event, but like her getting to like have some time off and like spend more time with everyone. Like I think she's trying to look at it with a positive light, at least in front of everyone else. But like, you know,
but so she really kind of spills her beans a little bit and is like, she doesn't know how to trust herself and trust her instincts, which has been something that Athena relies so heavily on.
Yep.
And like, if she was so wrong about, you know, going in there without calling for backup.
Very much parallels Josh's whole storyline.
Yes, very much so. And it's like, she hates that she scared her family and that she can't trust herself. But she's also like really, really worried about how she's going to go back into the field feeling like she can't trust herself and her instincts. And this is where Dr. Sanford was like, you're not going back out there tomorrow. Like, it'll take time to heal, and you can take time. And even though Athena is scared that that part of her will never truly like fully heal, or she'll never fully feel ready, like it's just a day by day sort of thing. And you have to look towards the bright side that like one day she'll be able to get back there. But it's just like, you know, Athena's going to have a little bit of almost like an identity crisis, because it's like if she can't not get over it, but like in her mind, get over it and get back to who she is and what she does.
She doesn't know how to do the job.
Who is she? Which is kind of what we saw Buck dealing with at the very beginning of season 3.
Yes.
So that's kind of an interesting comparison there. Since you're listening to our yappings about a firefighter procedural, we know another podcast that would make a great buddy.
It's called the One Chicago Podcast, and it's the official, exclusive, behind-the-scenes look at some of the most iconic TV series on right now. Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. From USG Audio and Wolf Entertainment themselves, the people behind Law & Order.
Each episode joins host and former Chicago cop turned Chicago PD producer Brian Lucci, as he's joined by the actors, producers, and writers behind the epic One Chicago universe, including
a chat with actor Jason Begay, who played Sergeant Hank Voight on Chicago Fire before spearheading the Chicago PD spinoff.
And for everyone like us who's always curious about the different departments, there's even a chat with production designer Greg Van Horn, known on set as Merlin, who talks about how he creates the iconic locations that bring the vibrant city of Chicago to life.
Wee woo on over to the One Chicago Podcast by searching for One Chicago Podcast in your favorite podcast app. That's One Chicago Podcast. All right, I guess it's time to talk about Buck, which I'm normally excited about, but I'm trying to figure out how to do this without turning it into an Abby hate corner.
I mean,
I'll try my best.
Maybe we can have like a dedicated like corner for you. Just to like
tell me when I can have 2 minutes to just be like, this is why you fucking suck.
After closure.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. That works.
Because I feel like that's where it should fit anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. To really close the chapter on Abby. Yeah.
It's the last time.
Buck is just like going about his business. He's at work at this mass casualty event, trying to live his life, do his job, be useful. And then
all of a sudden,
across the way, he sees Abby and freaks the fuck out, like rightfully so, because like, even if it's someone that you used to love and you see them at the scene of a mass casualty event and that they actively have blood on their head.
Like, first of all, you're going to be worried for them.
You're going to be worried and you're going to freak out because there's just like cognitive dissonance there of like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? But there's even more of that because like, why the fuck are you just like here in general? Like, where did you come from?
It kind of seems like Buck's world kind of tips on its axis a little bit. Like, oh no, why is Abby here? Because he still has care and concern for her.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you here? What are you doing here? Also, are you hurt? Because like his first thing is like, oh my God, you're here. Let's get you to a medical tent.
Yeah.
Like, and
before he does that though, he just looks like he doesn't even believe that she's there. Like he's so confused.
He thinks he's seeing a ghost.
Yeah.
Like the last thing we heard about him talking to Abby directly and indirectly with that letter from season 2 was like, you're the ghost haunting my narrative or whatever. So it really does look like he's seeing a ghost. The ghost of girlfriends past.
Oh my God, Rachel.
Is that not right? Like, so it's just kind of like,
what is
like,
up with these girlfriends being part of
freeze.
Ghosts? Something ghosts in girlfriends. All these women.
He's like, let's get you checked out. And then she's like, no, because she's flipping out because we find out her fiance is on the train. So she's refusing to like get checked out because she very understandably so is like, he was in the car that's, like almost 90 fucking degrees.
Very understandably concerned. I do think it's interesting though that like, because Eddie talks to Abby first and doesn't know her from Adam. And it's just like, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. We have to like you can't come any closer.
Yeah.
Just like doing the regular song and dance. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like kind of like calm and collected as much as she can, because again, she's a former dispatcher. So she like knows how to handle these crazy situations. But it's when she sees Buck that all of a sudden she becomes like so panicked and like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like all of that goes out the window because she's like, she drops the news about the fiance. And then it's just like crickets, silence. But so I just think it's like really interesting that when Buck appears in her line of vision, all of that training that she's had that's like second nature to her kind of like flies out the window. And I don't know if it's because she wasn't ready to see him in this like situation, because we know that she wanted to meet up with him at some point. So like wasn't mentally prepared, surprise, but also like she kind of knows that Buck would do anything to help anyone he cares about. So
that's probably why.
Yeah.
No, I think it's literally just she was on the verge of freaking out anyway. Like, but it's the fact that Buck was trying to physically remove her from there, and then the fact that she knew that like Buck would do anything to like help anyone.
Yeah. I think she was at her point because she's been arguing with like now 4 firefighters. So I mean, and he's the one also like yelling at her. So it's like
yeah. So yeah, Buck goes through an emotional journey here, and I think I'd be hard pressed to like pick out every single emotion that he is experiencing. But I think the like biggest, loudest one is kind of like that, like when you feel the bottom of your stomach fall out.
Like when you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah, but like in a bad way.
Okay.
That's kind of like what he's like. He just got dealt a giant blow. Yes, he just got punched, basically. Emotionally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was not in what he expected his day at work to be like, right?
No. So, and he, to his credit, he like gets past that quickly and is like, okay, where is he? What's his name? And is like, don't worry about it. Like, we're gonna do what we can.
He's very professional.
He's very professional until he promises, which like he has done before to like not personal things, but he has learned to not since then.
I thought it was really interesting that, Buck knows better, right? That you can't make these promises. No. But he does promise to get Sam back to Abby. And that just kind of made me think in not in a gay way, but it just made me think back to Eddie Begins about Eddie making those promises to Hayden's mom. Like, we're gonna get your kid back, sort of thing. And just like how they can't make these promises because they don't know what's gonna happen, but they still do. And Buck, being as stubborn as he is, like he made that promise. He is going to fulfill that promise. It's the last thing he does.
Here's the thing is, I think like I was thinking about it. And I was like, if he hadn't made the promise, or if he had made the promise to a stranger, would he have still done what he did?
Yes.
To save Sam? And I'm like, he would have done the same exact thing, even if it was a stranger.
He
So,
would have.
Like, I'll talk about the reactions from some people later. But I really do think that like he would have, like, this is just who Buck is. Like, he does not believe in no-win scenarios. There is no, what he says to Sam when Sam is like, it's either me or her, isn't it? And he's like, that's not what we do. And that is literally just what Buck believes. That's how he thinks about the job. Like,
because he also thinks about it like in a very positive light. Like,
yes,
you can't prepare for the worst. Like we see kind of Eddie and Bobby have maybe trying to be a little more realistic about certain things, but like Buck, because he's so stubborn, and I mean this like affectionately, like a character positive, and he thinks so outside of the box that he finds these ways to make those opportunities reality, where he's like, this is going to work out fine. And I have to think that way. I have to think positively, silver linings. Otherwise, he's not fulfilling his job.
Yeah, but it's like on the other hand, you're supposed to do whatever you can within reason because you're not really supposed to endanger yourself in a way that doesn't have checks and balances and safety nets in place.
Yeah.
You know, they run into burning buildings, but they have a lot of safety equipment and procedures and, you know, checks and balances to make sure that they come home okay. Yeah. And Buck just ignores those. He's like, that sign can't affect me. I can't read.
I think Bobby was trying to be his check and balance.
Yes.
But he also knows when to kind of like when Bobby has lost the fight, you know, like Bobby chooses his battles a little bit with that. He also like knows that Buck is capable of doing a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much to get into like with the rescue because it really is just what we said. And then the other stuff that I have to say is more about like Eddie, which we're going to talk about.
What about stuff with Bobby? Can we talk about this? Or that kind of like Bobby's so like it comes hand in hand with Eddie as well? Or
well, no, Bobby's reacting to what
Athena.
The Athena aftermath.
It is, but it's also Buck has already almost died so many times this year. You know, so he wasn't, it is very fresh because of what just happened with Athena, but he wasn't just talking about Athena when he was like, I'm tired of being on the wrong side of the hospital doors. You know, it wasn't just about Athena, but Buck, you know, I think Buck still doesn't understand like how much he means to, well, everyone, but Bobby. Like to Bobby, like he does not understand that Bobby cares about him like he's his kid.
Yeah. We know from what Buck has told Bobby in Fallout and the one and Christmas Spirit, like when Buck really expressed how much he looks up to Bobby, but like that's never, or at this point it hasn't really been as explicitly expressed in the opposite direction. Like Bobby kind of shows through action rather than words, which is funny because usually that's how Buck operates as well. But sometimes he needs that like verbal validation. He really does. So the whole argument that Buck and Bobby have with each other about this is like, you know, Buck is saying that he's willing to take the risk and he says like he understands the risk because like a train car is a lot heavier than being crushed by a fire engine. And it, you know, Bobby is just like seething about him bringing that up again because like that was such a bad time and led to even worse times for their relationship. And it's just like, oof. But also just like kind of interesting too that like Buck brings up the being crushed by the fire engine because like Abby also wasn't there for that either. So he's taking, I don't know. I just wrote a note about that and I was like, there's risk involved there, but also like him like doing it without, I don't know what that was. So
I don't know, but Bobby does like you said before, he does pick and choose his battles, especially with Buck and especially when he's lost that battle because like Buck does come up with smartly, you know, like he does come up with a solution and like as far as like what kind of steel they're working with. And like it's to the point that okay, it actually makes sense. And it's like we need to
Bobby's so like fine.
Yeah.
Cuz it does make sense.
And to an extent Eddie is also like come on, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and it's just
and then we're able to and you know, he was able to save both of them at the end.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really funny because they get him down and like they have Sam like getting wheeled to the ambulance and
well, when I meant the end,
like,
I meant the rescue.
Yeah, and Sam's like, hey man, thank you. Like waiting for him to say his name and he's like, Buck. You're Buck. So I'm just like imagine like almost dying, you're like still actively bleeding out. And your fiance, who has told you about like this relationship she had before you, is not only the person who saved you, but like this really hot built firefighter.
And just like really nice because he didn't give up on you.
Yeah.
And like refused to like just like accept the scenario.
I'd be a fan, actually.
Yeah.
I would too. I was like, he must be a very secure man.
Yeah.
And like he probably is, because it also seemed like when he was like, oh, you're Buck, like Buck's reputation preceded him in a good way. Like he had a very good perception of Buck before even being saved by him, you know, like from what Abby's told him. So like it seems that, you know, just the fact that she's told him all of this stuff and like communicated and all of that, and that it seemed to be for the most part like very positive and very shedding a good light on Buck is lovely as well.
Yeah. But Eddie tries to like check in to be like, are you okay? Because that was a lot.
It was
like
a lot.
that was a lot, not just like emotionally because of Abby and like she has a fiance and all of that, but like he also just did a rescue where he could have been crushed by another large mode of transportation and he had a fight with Bobby. Like it was a lot. So he's just like trying to check in to be like, are you okay? Because I care, but also because we have to work. And Buck just like does his best Eddie impression. Completely ignores talking about emotions and is just like, what's next?
Yeah.
Which I was the only what's next I remembered of this episode, but apparently it's said 7 times.
Michael says it. Buck says it.
I feel like Maddie says it at some point.
Probably in the monologue.
Yeah. I didn't
voiceover.
clock that many, but I do kind of love that Buck throws himself back into like they have a job to do. And it's also a little bit of like he's not making it about himself because he can't really like focus on that right now because he is on the job. So it's kind of like what Maddie says to Josh, where it's but the opposite, where Maddie said, you know, this is about you, not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
For Buck, this is a lot about him, but also he's throwing himself back into what he's supposed to do because that's what he thinks he does best, and just kind of like nose to the grindstone, like I am a firefighter. This is my identity, but like we know he's grown a little more past that. But like at this present time, when he's confronted with all of this, he's going to focus on.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not about to like go through any of this right now. I have to continue to actually compartmentalize now, but he isn't even like a reassuring, like, I'm fine. Like, we'll talk about it. Like nothing. He's just like,
what's next?
He pauses,
walks off.
And then it's just like, what's next? Like he does not even want to deal with any of that.
Yeah. Also, just really quickly, with the ambulance, with Sam and Abby getting into the ambulance, I think it's really interesting that they had her look back before they closed the ambulance doors, because that was like the thing that she didn't do when she was leaving at the airport. She never looked back. Now she looks back, and it's still Buck being left again, but just like an interesting
but it's because
thing.
She wants some closure now.
She's found herself, so she's ready to like, yeah.
So they meet up on this like very picturesque view of LA on a bench, which Buck is just blending right in with his shirt. Like he's in camo.
Be the bench.
I don't know why that
I am the
me.
bench.
But he's there first, waiting, which is, you know,
typical
and just symbolic of their entire relationship. And you know, they say hi really awkwardly. She sits down and she's like, thanks for meeting me. And Buck is already like, I think he actually genuinely cares about like how Sam is doing, but I think he's trying to like avoid.
He's trying to delay the inevitable of this conversation. And there's not much he can do to like.
I just don't think he like wants the answers.
No, because I think he was like doing. He
no
was doing
good
okay. Yeah,
for the answers.
He was doing okay. He was, you know, the boat was not being rocked. until we start seeing stuff from like 316 with Red. And then like that brings all of this stuff like, so for the first 3/4 of this season, Buck's been so focused on everything but Abby. And then all of a sudden, because like he's had to focus on himself and his family of the 118, his friendship with Eddie, and just like recuperating. And then just all of a sudden, everything with Abby is just like being brought back to the surface. So like it never went fully away. It was just kind of dormant. And I think he was just like thinking that he moved on, but
it's hard to move on when you have literally no closure from something. It's hard to move on completely because there's always that little niggling like, what the hell?
The what ifs.
Yeah. So like they're having a conversation not about anything. Like it's just about Sam and, you know, how he's doing and how he's going to make a full recovery and how Sam, you know, Buck's like, he seems like a great guy. And she's like, Sam thinks the same about you. And she's like, I'll never be able to thank you enough for what you did. And he's like, I'm just doing my job. And then she apologizes for him finding out about them being engaged that way. And like, I wanted to talk to you about everything while I was in town. How the fuck would he know that?
Yeah.
It's like you could have maybe called him or written him a letter or sent him a carrier pigeon.
Because also, okay, this is where I can drop in some Abby stuff. Because she said when she was at the bar in the train, like that Phoenix, Arizona is home. And I'm like, okay, I think her brother lived in Phoenix as well.
Yes.
But also I'm assuming that like she and Sam live in Phoenix together. So it's like, one, how long has she been back? Because it's been like pretty much 2 years, right? And how long has she been like a state away from him and, you know, not either avoided LA completely or just like avoided saying, hey.
She probably went back
I'm
to
just
her
talking
house,
bare minimum.
You know, she probably
like she could have been like, I'm on my way back to LA. I'd love to meet up and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. I was trying to say, like, she probably went back to her house, got whatever she needed from there, maybe sold it, and then just didn't even try to think to even contact Buck at all because, I don't know.
She was scared.
She was.
Cowardly.
She just never cared enough.
At the end of the day, I do think it was cowardly. I know we haven't even gotten to most of that discussion. So
I just don't think she ever cared enough about him. Like, yeah, sure, cowardice for sure. And like not wanting the confrontation, not wanting to let someone down. But I just don't think she ever cared enough to make herself uncomfortable for his benefit.
Because even if she'd, you know, it sounds from what she was saying, it sounded like she'd come to grips with what her Eat, Pray, Love journey was for herself and the new Abby that she found along the way and got settled in, because obviously she's been in Arizona for a little bit, but she never like did the kind of selfless thing and say like, well, I'm gonna give Buck closure.
Does she say that she's pretty sure that he's moved on, or like how did she word that? Because that was
in the bar,
at
like
the beginning
at the bar.
Yes,
she's like, because the bartender's like, anyone waiting for you?
He stopped waiting for me a long time ago.
So it was like, it sounded very definitive that she already knew.
You know how she knew that he stopped waiting? Because she got his letter.
So yeah, she went home and she was like, all right,
yeah,
I guess he's, yeah.
And she thought that was like
a closure for, I guess, the both of them. And she just assumed.
Yeah. I'll talk about the rest of the conversation before I elaborate on any of my thoughts on that. She apologizes for him finding out about her being engaged this way. And he's like, that's what you're sorry for? Because honestly, on the list of crimes that she has committed against this man, that's kind of like low.
Yeah.
On the list.
Yeah. And I'm glad that Buck spoke up for himself in that way. Like,
it's like, don't you have other stuff to apologize for?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of him because he confronted her like outright and was just like, when do you know that you were leaving me for good? And she's like, well,
I thought I would come back to you.
And he's like, was it Morocco or Paris or Dublin? Or did you know when you were at the airport and I was kissing you goodbye and promising you that I would wait for you? Did you know then that you were never coming back to me? And then she gives bullshit reasons that have literally nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it's all about her and her finding herself, and that she didn't have an identity outside of the people that she was helping, and like she had to remember who she was, and then that's when asks like, but you still didn't come home, like once you remembered who you were, or found this new version of yourself, but you still didn't come home. And Abby said that she was afraid that if she came back, she'd fall back into that person that she was before, because she didn't trust herself.
Which is bullshit, because in all of the things she listed being about, like, my life wasn't about me, it was about my job and taking care of my mom and doing things for other people. And it's like, what did you literally ever do for him? He wasn't on that list of the things.
Yeah, so
you were
how
doing
would
everything
she
for everyone else. So like, how would you fall back into that? Your mom's dead. You don't work there.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's just a bullshit reason.
Like, if she were to come back, like, who would she be, like, doing things for? Because it's not, she doesn't do things for Buck. She does kind of like what Han said, basically. Like, she doesn't work at Dispatch. Yeah.
Also, isn't that a little bit like naive of her to think that in all of this time Buck hasn't grown and changed as well? Because we've seen Buck go through so many different things, from the leg crush to getting back on the horse and the lawsuit and, you know, everything. And him also like finding an identity outside of firefighting, because he kind of had to, and finding a family outside of just firefighting, or that can, like, you know, overlap. It's like she's almost expecting Buck to be the same person that she left as well.
If she had come back to him, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking? Okay.
But even if he was, her reason still makes no sense.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's not like, you know, she's saying that she had to have time to grow and evolve, and she's not who she was back then. But for her to not kind of like, you know, I don't want to say it's unkind, but it's just kind of like unthinking that Buck would not have grown into a person, and like she was assuming that he would still be waiting for her, I guess, until she got the letter back in season 2.
Hannah, is there more to this conversation?
I don't think so, other than my bitching.
Oh no, I meant like the dialogue.
Oh, the dialogue. It was the whole, you remembered who you thought you remembered, but you still didn't come home. And then you know, what we were talking about. And then he just says, I'm glad to see you happy, Abby. You deserve it. And that's literally the end of the conversation. So there's no real apology. There's no accountability. There's no, how are you? What's been happening with you? I hope your life is good. You deserve to be happy too. It's literally just all about her. Like it always has and was been. Like,
it is very one-sided, and Buck just kind of like is glad to see her happy and says she deserves it. But I'm like, but so do you.
I feel like Buck, I mean, so because of some of the instances of when he's talking to her, I mean, I know like one of them was at the call, and that's already a high stress situation. And then like here during this conversation, he's angry. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she's read the room. Like, what is even, I don't even think there's, I mean, I feel like if I was Buck and somebody had asked me all of that, I'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? You know, like I would blow up on them. So like, yeah, I think it's fair that she actually did not even bother. At least just leave it at that. And like,
she owed it to him.
Yeah.
Mm. It doesn't even matter if you're forgiven or your apology is accepted. Sometimes you just need to like offer it sincerely, and maybe she just wasn't sorry, and I don't think she was. I don't think she was sorry for leaving and not coming back, and for not telling him that she wasn't coming back, because it's all justified to her.
I also don't think that she really ever had a good understanding of how much Buck attributed him, like his growth in that early season and a half or whatever, to her. Like, I don't think she knew how important she was to his life and him growing up a little bit and maturing in ways that like the quote that I read from Tim earlier, that Buck attributed a lot of stuff to Abby that was really just in his power. It was his agency and autonomy. And I don't think that Abby really ever got a clear insight that like that's how Buck saw her either. And
I don't think she needed to.
She didn't need to.
She knew how much he cared about her.
Yeah.
That's all she should need to know to like treat him with respect.
No, that's true.
Can I complain now and then be done?
I'm waiting for, I'm like, I'm tired.
Okay. I don't know. Just good fucking riddance. I think that, but what Buck got from this conversation and what he needed to hear was that it wasn't his fault. Mm-hmm. He was not the reason. Like,
oh, for sure.
Yes. Like it wasn't something he did or something he didn't do or him not being enough. It was just her and her own bullshit. And I think that is why he just kind of like accepts it at face value and isn't like trying to prod more like along the lines of how he started, this line of conversation. I think he just really needed to hear like what her reasoning was. And it's almost like she could have done this 2 years ago and just broken up with him.
I think she felt like she didn't have to because of the letter.
Yeah, that's true.
That's such bullshit.
I know, but I'm saying bullshit. That's like why I think she didn't.
It's such bullshit. And I think it's also such bullshit because you're trying to tell me that Carla, who kept in contact with her the whole time that she wasn't away, doesn't still keep in contact with her and didn't tell her that he got crushed by a fire truck, had a pulmonary embolism, wasn't a firefighter anymore, like was in a tsunami.
I think she had to cut all ties.
I don't think she stopped being friends with Carla.
No, I meant like cut all ties. Like she wouldn't have wanted to know what was going on with Buck because then she would have felt like she would have had to go back and like take care of him or whatever.
No, I don't think so. I'm just like, there's no way that she didn't know all of this stuff was happening with him. And at no point did she go, maybe I should like,
what was the last
check in with him and give him some closure.
When was the last time that Carla mentions Abby? Like straight up season two.
Season 2.
It was like early in season 2.
I don't know. Like she could have. I think I'm kind of with Rachel on this one. Like maybe she just like cut all ties with everyone.
She was still talking to Carla, like, and Buck knew that and said that to her in that conversation. That's where I'm getting that from. That's not even the point. My point is just like she never really cared about him beyond what he could do for her. And when she could like find her own fucking way and her own path to be herself, she didn't care enough to like tell him that she was done. She didn't care enough to like respond to his letter, do anything. And I know that you're like, oh, well, he read the letter and maybe that she thought that was like it. But he literally is saying, you're my ghost story. How do you read that letter and go, yeah, this is a man who is definitely okay with not knowing whatever happened. He called you a ghost that is haunting him.
I mean, at that point, like, I would take that as an insult and, like, not even try to reach out. I'm telling you, like, this is just something where it's like, what is the point then?
To not be a shitty person.
Well,
and just
some
just
people
take accountability
like that.
for your own. But that's what I'm saying. She's a shitty person because she didn't feel the need to literally at any point take accountability for her actions and apologize and give this man any closure.
Let's just agree she's a shitty person. I think we all agree here.
Yeah.
The stuff that she could have done, it's just signifies that she's just a shitty person. Like, that's it.
That she was putting herself first.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And I know from season 1, like, she probably was doing that because she hadn't for so long. But that doesn't mean that, she can just, like, brush everybody else aside or a specific significant person aside. That doesn't make it right. So, but I think that's what she was I think that's probably what she was operating under, I have to put myself first. However, her putting herself first in that way was,
you can still put yourself first and still take accountability.
I know. I'm saying she didn't. That's literally what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all.
Anyway, good riddance. I hope she's happy living in Phoenix, Arizona. No offense to anyone who's listening who lives in Phoenix, Arizona.
I don't think we get a lot from Arizona.
You just will never catch me in Arizona.
Too hot.
Too hot. Too many creepy crawlies.
Too hot. Much desert.
Hey! Where's the fire?
Anyway, chugging right along. into the scene dissection. I know it's our first one in a few episodes. And it's not going to be like a super deep one, but it is, I think, in fact, probably too much just because these are just a bunch of really short clips from a party. But we're going to talk about May's graduation party because like it's a lot of fun. And there are some things there that I am like egregiously reading into. So,
and it's just kind of perfect because we started off this season with a party and we're ending this season with a party.
Yeah.
And they're both for Bobby and Athena's kids.
Yeah. And I titled this May's graduation, aka a party at the Grant Nash household Buck didn't almost bleed out at.
Yay! Nobody had to go to the hospital at this one.
Progress. Exciting.
Wow.
Anyway, the scene starts with Athena and Michael's like speech and toast to May. And it's very cute because they're just very proud of their daughter and her success. And while that's happening, you kind of see the lay of the land. And they have what I call a cluster of couples. So from left to right, you have Bobby and Athena and Hen and Karen. And all of them are standing together. The couples are coupled.
Paired off.
Bobby and Athena, Hen and Karen, Eddie and Buck, and Maddie and Chimney. And the kids are all clustered together at the front. Harry, Denny, and Chris, just super cute. While Michael's like giving his little toast, him and May are standing next to each other, but like spaced apart, and they're framing Maddie and Chimney, which I thought was really cute and just kind of like foreshadowing of the little scene we're about to get where we find out they're going to be parents.
Cute.
And then after they toast and everyone cheers. Right after the toast, there's a shot of Michael and Buck doing that weird like thing that guys do where they like handshake into like a one-armed hug. It's like the bro hug, which is
bro. I'm sorry.
So funny because I think we see Buck and Eddie do that maybe once, but they always end up in the two-armed hug. It's never like
Buck and Eddie.
Yeah, it's never because I think guys do that because they can keep like an arm between them.
Space for Jesus.
Yeah, and heterosexuality.
No, I'm
platonic feelings.
I'm thinking of 306.
Yeah,
after the lawsuit divorce is done, and then it's like just hug.
Just hug. But yeah, so here's where I'm egregiously reaching for meaning. Because I was like, we'd never see Buck and Michael interact literally ever. What was the purpose of this? And I was like, he's passing the baton of fatherhood onto Buck. This will be you one day, throwing a graduation party.
Oh my God.
Like Mufasa and Simba.
Yeah.
Wherever the light touches, this is your kingdom.
Yeah. Then we see Eddie dancing with Chris while they wait for the cake, which is super cute.
Love it.
And then we see Athena serving cake one-handed because, of course,
she's independent. She's going to still do whatever she's going to do.
Yeah. Then we have Buck and Chimney dancing. I don't know what they were doing. I think it was supposed to be dancing, but it was bad, and they were laughing with each other, and Maddie was laughing at them. Yeah.
It's not white.
No.
But it was the white people dance.
But it's the white people dance.
Almost all of it was white people dancing.
Yeah, because they probably didn't have music.
No, or they just had something that they didn't
have the rights for.
Wouldn't. Yeah. But you're right. It probably was no music.
Just the way they were all like, just kind of like, dancing around, like
just the sway.
Yeah, just the sway and like the arms, just kind of like back and
not
forth.
Like you're having
fun.
Not even a two-step. Like,
I'm willing to bet they did not have like music.
No.
For filming that, no. You can always tell everyone's like slightly offbeat.
Yes. Okay. Then we get Buck and Maddie in the photo booth, May and Harry in the photo booth because siblings. And then we get Christopher and Eddie and Maddie and Chimney. And then we get to see this really cute shot of Buck with his horrible fucking handwriting. Mood.
I know it says like congrats.
Buck. Congrats, you did it, Buck, but it's like barely legible.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what do you want to write? And I'm like, I think Christopher's handwriting is probably better. Like you should just let him write it himself. But Chris is just like, May, all your dreams come true, May. And it's
really cute.
It's so cute.
Because Buck's like, yeah, that's better, actually.
Yeah, he was like, that's really good, actually. That was a pretty good pun for like an 8-year-old, actually.
He's like, my kid is so smart.
Mm-hmm. Then we have more Maddie and Chimney in the photo booth. Eddie holding Chris, like, up and dancing. And then we have Eddie dancing with Karen and Hen. Crumbs. I think there's like another shot or two of that. I tried not to repeat things.
It's fine.
But if I did, oopsie. I had like 20 minutes like left before I had to get ready to like.
It's great.
You
did a great job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Then we have Maddie and May in the photo booth, which you're thinking like, weird pair up because we've never seen them interact. But it's for reasons. Because May's like, hey, like if you have a minute, I'd love to talk with you, which like we find out because we see May starting at Dispatch next season. We find out that's probably that's definitely what that talk was about, because what else would she have to talk to her about?
She doesn't want to go to college yet.
No. Then we have Buck and Christopher in the photo booth, which is super cute. The core 4 in the photo booth. And then we have Michael, Karen, and Hen talking about the fire.
Oh my God, this kills me every time. It's so stupid but it's one of those things that just like the one-off one-liner things with just like characters interacting, just like being the characters. And I'm just like, I live for this kind of thing. It's so stupid.
It's like,
and funny.
Theoretically, Athena's going to be able to use a lighter, to light whatever that is. Michael's like, right, it's a fire pit.
And they're both Hen and Karen are looking at it like
judging. The
it's
gays
palpable.
are judging.
They are. It's gay on gay crime. Sorry.
It's deserved.
It is.
Yeah. But they're like, a fire pit or a money pit? He's like, it's going to be great.
Sure, Jan.
Sure.
And then Michael walks away, and then like Hen and Karen are still looking at it like, Yeah.
And it's like, what is its greatness? It's like,
don't you see the
you
greatness?
don't see the greatness?
How much do you want to bet that was just like ad-libbed?
Probably. It's just
like
so funny.
And then Karen's face, which she was just like, no, I don't see it. It's so funny.
No.
I love when they're funny.
I just love the judgment and the roasting. That's friendship.
Yeah.
That's family. It's actually family.
That's
that level
familia.
of roasting. Yeah. If you're not getting roasted at your family gathering, are you at a family gathering?
Especially if it's over a fireplace. Like, that's just asking to be roasted. Michael the Marshmallow. Continue.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Then we have Chris dancing, and Denny's like dancing in the background while Harry smashes cake in May's face. And then like it pans out, and like Buck, Eddie, and Maddie all like gasp because she's chasing him down to kill him. But I think it's so funny because it's like Buck and Eddie are in exact synchronization. Like the way their body moves, the way they look, and the face they make. It's like, the creepy NSYNC thing that they do.
Their Bluetooth was connected.
It's almost always connected.
True.
Even if they try and turn it off.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. Then we have Buck and Eddie in the photo booth. And this is the one where Buck hits Eddie in the face with his necklaces. And I did not realize until literally this time, because I rewound it and watched each little clip so many times, that it's not the like Mardi Gras beads. No, it's the necklaces with balls on the end of them. So
what?
Yes, he has Mardi Gras beads, and then he has like a necklace with balls on the end of it, and he's hitting him in the face with the balls.
Oh my God. And like but we also know, like, I don't remember where or when it was said. I just know that like that was an actual accident.
Yes,
like,
I know.
Like,
but I
Oliver
think it's just
accidentally hit Ryan with the necklace.
Yeah, somebody asked if it was part of the script. He was like, no. It was an accident.
So like Eddie's reaction to it is
a
genuine,
Ryan's.
just kind of like that silly face that he makes.
Like the silly goofy.
Yeah. I just thought it was the Mardi Gras beads.
Nope. It's the necklace with the balls on the end of it, which is why is that even a necklace? It's weird. But anyway, then we have Athena and Bobby's tiny little talk where she's like, you better get used to like having me around. Like, it's been a long time since I've been a civilian. And he says something to her about like, but as soon as you can, you're going to want to get right back out there, which is like how you would normally think of Athena and Buck, because they're so similar.
Shocker.
Yeah. And she's just kind of like, like makes a face because, we know as the audience,
she's grappling.
Privy to this conversation that she had.
She doesn't know if she'll ever get to that point again.
Yeah. She's not feel confident that she'll get there. She can't see the vision now.
It's kind of also like her a little bit like, how do you feel about me being a civilian? Because that might be the future that you're looking at. Just want to prepare you. And
yeah,
like they'll cross that bridge when they get there.
Okay, so I forgot to mention, while this whole montage is playing out, before the next moment I'm going to talk about is when the Earth, Wind, and Fire Groove Tonight, is that what it's called? Is playing, right? Because like everyone's dancing, and it's a party, super fun. But then the Only You by Yuzu montage starts.
And what does it start on?
Oh, it starts on another shot of Buck and Eddie in the photo booth.
Shocking.
And now this is where I'm stretching it because it isn't just couples, but it is family. And by family, I mean nuclear family for the rest of these photo booth shots. So we get Buck and Eddie again. We get Bobby and Athena, Buck and Chris. We get a shot of Bobby and May's boyfriend and Harry dancing, which is weirdly the best dancing we see in this entire montage.
No, it's true. It's true, though.
It's like Bobby got moves.
Bobby can come to the cookout.
Oh my God. I should hope so.
It's at his house.
I know.
I know, but I know what you meant.
No, but it's also like, I hope you learned some moves.
Anyway.
He
and Athena were dancing the other episode.
Yeah.
He's got moves.
He knows the moves. He's got the moves. He's got all the moves. All the smooth moves. Anyway.
He landed Athena. I assume he knows how to move his hips.
Can we please continue?
Anyway, I just want to read a couple lyrics from the song that's playing.
Yes. Please.
It's Only You by Yuzu, and it's just like, basically like, I want you near me. All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day. All I ever knew, only you. So it's basically just like being in love with someone and like having someone who's your person and having that person be like all you see and all you need.
Aww.
So that's what's playing. Then we start with Buck and Eddie, and then we do Bobby and Athena, and then we have Eddie feeding Chris cake with his hands. Which why?
That was weird, right?
Like there had to be utensils there. It's Athena and Bobby's place. I know they have utensils.
I think it was just like the frosting.
I don't know. But
I thought
was
it was
just
a
like,
frosting.
Regardless, why? he's spending too much time with Buck.
It was a choice. Mr. doesn't know what cutlery is.
And then we have Hen, Karen, and Denny in the photo booth, another nuclear family. Buck and Eddie again in the photo booth. And then Maddie by herself, but she's not really by herself because she is with child.
Aww.
So I have no idea if any of that editing was intentional to be nuclear family, also, but it was just very...
Like, she's learned to love herself also. So, like...
Sure.
I don't know. I like your idea better.
And then we see this nice little talk between Buck and Bobby where Buck apologizes for the train stunt. And it's kind of like a full circle moment from the beginning of the season.
Yes.
Where, it's another party of the Grant Nash household. And Buck is thanking Bobby like for being there for him and helping him through all of the rehab and recovery from his injury. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a cute little father-son moment where he's like, I'm sorry that I made you angry.
Yeah. And well, Buck says like, oh, Bobby responds like, it's fine. We both got a little hot. And then he asks how Buck is doing. So it's this Bobby trusting Buck to let him know like actually how he's doing, which we saw in a couple episodes earlier where was it Pinned maybe? I think it was Pinned, where Bobby was like, letting Buck kind of let him know if something was wrong or any that trust is rebuilt again.
Mm-hmm.
So like they have open communication again. They're not harboring anything towards one another. Like their relationship is healed pretty much.
But he's just like, you doing okay? And Buck does his Buck who is going to be okay, look into the distance.
Like that deep. I think so.
And he's like, yeah, I think I am. Because I think he actually is. You know what I mean? Like he
got the closure.
He got the closure, and he's just been through so much this year, and he has grown so much and just, rebuilt his life again for himself.
A life that he's happy with because he has more than just firefighting, because he has all these people.
Yeah.
Like in and outside of the job.
Yeah. And then the last couple shots we get is Maddie, realizing that she's pregnant at the party because, Chimney's trying to feed her the salmon that she normally loves. And she's like, oh, that's disgusting. And he's like, are you still feeling sick? Like, have you been to the doctor? And she's like, oh, shit, we have to go. We have to go.
The way she's like, oh, no. Like, like that realization. Because she's a nurse. She knows.
She's putting together like the being tired and any other symptoms she might have been having. I'm assuming being late or something in there. So probably all of the things separately seeming innocuous, but when she added all of the puzzle pieces together, it was light bulb moment.
She was like, I need to go buy 2 pregnancy tests.
Yeah. And then we end the montage with Bobby and Athena kissing in the photo booth, and it's very cute.
It's adorable.
It's very cute. I would love more scenes like this in general, but like I think it's good. So good, like especially for like a season finale to just like have the family together. Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be a party always, but like have them be together at like a dinner or a get together or something.
I feel like season 9 would benefit from one of these.
Let's go,
please.
Yeah, bringing everybody even closer and more tight knit.
I think 9 really needs it. Yeah, especially being.
We did a couple episodes of the fractured thing. Like, we want to see more of this.
Yeah, like, whatever journey they all go through in 9, I think it should culminate
be together
in a family get together.
Yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
I guess we do kind of get that at the end of 8, them all together in the hospital room.
That's
but it's so cloaked in grief.
Yeah.
That I just would like a happy get together. Like I understand that a birth is a happy occasion, but it's like, here's the birth of our child to remind you that we named him after our family member who just died.
Colin. I mean, it is kind of interesting putting, 818 and this together.
It should end with Harry graduating from the fire academy.
It should,
and they're all there at the ceremony for it.
Yes, that would kind of be perfect.
It would be perfect, actually. And I will just say, it wasn't part of the party montage, but like the party montage starts like getting interspersed with other montage things. So it's like, it's still the party, but then it's flashing to like Michael and David on a date.
So like these new beginnings for everybody.
The new beginnings. Hen and Karen and Denny, with like
grading
looking at
her practice tests,
her practice MCATs. And we have this scene with Eddie seeing Chris off to summer camp. And I think it's such a cute scene. And like he writes him a card, like, have a great time. But I think they missed the opportunity to nail in the point they were trying to make all season, which is that Buck is also his dad. Why wasn't Buck there? Like, I think that just would have been so easy to nail home
because
we don't the general audience.
Because we don't see Buck in one of these little interspersed montages.
He doesn't exist because he doesn't have a but I'm like, it just like goes against the whole thing they've been trying to set up all season.
Well, wait, because the thing that I thought of when I saw that with Eddie looking at the card that Christopher made him, that made me think of the card that Christopher made Buck in 301. So to me, it was still tied to Buck, just like not as like presently. But I was like, it was kind of the same, similar, same gesture. Like Chris made a card for both Buck and Eddie. So like both of his parents, ostensibly. So that's kind of how I connected it.
General audiences aren't doing that. That's what I'm saying.
No, but that's what we're here for.
Right. But I'm saying they missed an opportunity.
Like I was trying to say, like, I also felt like it was a part of that, that storyline with the skateboard, because like, it's also him, you know, at the beginning at the fire station, like he was there trying to get like reassurance that it's okay for Christopher to like go to summer camp. And like, so I felt like it was like another tie into that whole, like Christopher going, trying new things. So it's kind of for that as well.
I know what it was for. I'm just saying for that purpose of a thing that they were trying to do all season.
Yeah.
I just felt like
it would have been
could have just been the icing on top of the your father cake. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it time?
It's time.
The moment you've been waiting for. The train is arriving.
Originally, our Buck section was a Buck and Eddie section, and I went, no, all of this is familial and gay, so it should probably move to slow burn.
So are we just we'll just start at the top?
Yeah,
with the summer camp combo.
Yeah,
about Buck being the nervous, overprotective parent.
Well, the line that leads into that convo, I think, is important too, because it's Abby on the train and the bartender, whoever, asking like,
right,
like, do you have somebody waiting for you like at home or whatever? And she's like, oh, he moved on a long time ago. He stopped waiting a long time ago. And then it pans, like it cuts to this scene of literally married parents arguing over their child going to summer camp.
Moving on to what?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. That's intentional. So then Buck is being kind of like the nervous, overprotective parent. Mm-hmm. He's like, are you sure Chris is ready for that? Like, which is classic, like parent projecting of like the, I'm not ready for my kid to be out in the world without me sort of thing. And it's just so funny because like Eddie is like wanting reassurance that this is the right thing to do, especially because Eddie's trying so hard to give Chris the freedom that he's been desiring and like let him try new things and all of that stuff. And like Eddie did the research because we know he's like type A like that, and he has the brochures, and he's like, they have this, I didn't write it down, but they have like this, and this kind of activities for him to do. Like it'll be great, right? And Buck's just like, I don't know. I'm not ready.
It starts with like, Eddie going, it's only 2 weeks. And then Buck's like, time, whoa, 2 weeks away from home? Like he's calling time out on the conversation.
Not even like how long like other summer camps would have been, right? Like 6 weeks or something. It's like just 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Which is a really good like
young? What if
start.
Something happens?
It's so funny because then we also get like Bobby being like supportive grandpa.
Yeah.
I put in my notes like supportive peepaw. Like reminiscing about his own time at sleepaway camp Ouija Wagon, and it's just like, yeah, I remember back in the day, it was great. I had lots of fun. Chris will be fine. And Buck's just looking at him like betrayal. So funny because it's so like parents and then parent of the parent, you know?
Yeah, it really is.
And it's just like, you know, Eddie's saying all of the merits that this camp has, and Buck is like, yeah, that sounds like child labor to me. And just like,
it's so like not helpful. Like, think about if like anyone else was coming to him, talking to him about like their kid going to summer camp, he would like try and assuage their fears and like worries and be like, no, they're going to have such a great time and they're going to make friends and it's going to be so great for them. And like, he'd be trying to like reassure them that like, it's a good idea to send their kid to camp, but no, not when it's his kid.
Exactly. It's so funny because I think both Buck and Eddie are working off of the same kind of like nervousness or insecurities, especially after everything that happened with the tsunami and everything after the skateboard. Like, of course, they're protective of their kid. And this is the time where we see Buck being a little like overly protective because of everything that they went through in the tsunami together.
And just not wanting to spend 2 weeks without his favorite Diaz.
Yeah. But it's also, it's good for Eddie too, because he has to like, he's learning to kind of not fully let go, but like give a little bit more like leeway and
freedom,
space.
Independence.
Yeah. And that's a really important thing for Eddie too, because it's also him giving up some control, right?
Yeah.
Which is very hard for him to do. And then you just have Buck over here being like, no,
absolutely not. Our kid is not going. But it's so funny because like after his first interjections, Eddie's like, I'm pretty sure I brought in the brochure so you guys can make me feel better about him going. And Chimney's like, clearly you did not think that plan through to its logical conclusion. Like everyone knows.
Yup.
It's just so good.
It's just so family.
It is. Sounds a lot like child labor.
I love Bobby's interjection there. It's just Bobby's just like, he'll be fine. It'll be great. It's like, how dare
child
you?
labor. I can't deal with him. He's so unserious.
It's funny, the word choice too. Like the whole like, what if he's homesick? You mean you're definitely gonna miss him, but like also kind of adding on to the tsunami thing. It's like, well, in this scenario, like if something were to happen, like neither of them would be there, you know. So like he's kind of playing off of
to
that.
protect him. Yeah.
It's definitely stemming from that as well.
Yeah, because before he says, what if he's homesick? He says, what if something happens? So, yeah.
They're not helping Eddie feel better.
No.
There definitely is anxiety there lurking along with the like, but I'll miss him.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have, I guess, tied for first place, Abby Hater with me, Eddie Diaz.
Truly.
Because he's perfectly like polite to her and not making weird faces.
Yeah.
Until he realizes who she is.
Because Abby says Buck first, I think.
Yeah.
And
no.
Eddie, no?
Hold on.
She's like, oh, are you in the 118?
She goes, wait, are you from the 118?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
And then he's like, yeah. And then Buck is like seeing her from afar and goes, Abby. And then she says Buck. And then that's when
his face contorts.
The math is mathing and he doesn't like math. He's not good at it.
Oh my God.
And it's just so funny. Like that shot when of both Eddie and Abby looking up when like Buck is popping in, the just like wild framing. You would think it would be a closer up on Abby, but it is like a mid shot of both of them just being like, what?
Eddie in the middle going, like the realization on his face completely changes his expression. He's just like, oh, that Abby, and just is like glancing in between them like, so, what the fuck do I do?
So Eddie really kind of like, Eddie really like kind of takes a step back to just be like, okay, what's going on? Because this is obviously, I know about Abby, and just like, oh, maybe Sam knew about Buck. Just saying. But like different outcomes.
That's a great point, actually.
Eddie kind of like takes a step back because he doesn't really know what's gonna go on here, but he also doesn't like leave because he has to have Buck's back, obviously, and he also is maybe like a little bit of nosy,
right? Like I feel like Eddie here is so he's putting two and two together. He's already like he's observing the situation going on, and like I also feel like knowing what he knows about her and then knowing how she left him, and then like all of that, I feel like Eddie put himself in like this like I have to be supportive of Buck and like watch like what he's doing. Like I feel like that was like a lot of his mentality there.
Yeah, because he knew from his first day on the job how much Abby leaving had like it basically destroyed Buck a little bit.
Yeah,
so I think he very much stepped into like the supportive like role very, very quickly and is like, I don't know what's gonna happen here, and this is potentially a very like gunpowdery situation.
And I feel like he's just ready to like ground Buck anytime that he thinks like Buck is about to do something crazy.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what he tries to do because he sees all of this happening when like he sees Buck's expression and when Abby like blurts out this stuff about her fiance's up there, and the way Eddie keeps like looking from Abby to Buck when Buck is like, you know, shuts everything down and compartmentalizes, which he doesn't usually do, and just kind of like, what's his name? We'll get him, making that promise. And so Eddie also sees Buck making that promise. Like Eddie has promised, you know, so many people before, namely Christopher and Shannon and all that stuff too. So that's probably bringing up some stuff. But so it's just like Eddie is being very just like observational, but kind of maybe almost ready to step in if he feels like he needs to. Yeah. But he's also letting Buck take the lead on this, and he's just having his back and like as bewildered as Buck.
Well, he knows just like Bobby does when to pick his battles with Buck.
Exactly.
And he does. Mm-hmm. He does on the train. You know, when it becomes clear to Bobby and Eddie that like they have to make a decision between, you know, who to save. And Buck's just like, hey, come on, like trying to argue for Sam. And Eddie's like, hey, listen, I know you made a promise. Mm-hmm. And Bobby's like, excuse? He's like, Buck, stop. All right, I know you made a promise. And he's like, what promise?
Because he knows Buck knows better than that.
And then Buck's like, to his fiance, I promised I would bring him back to her. And Bobby's like, what? And then Eddie, so fucking done.
He's been done. He's been done.
So beyond done.
He's had it.
Holding his tongue.
Mm-hmm. Because he really has. He really has been holding his tongue about this. Because he knows exactly what Buck has been doing.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, promising something that they don't that they can't necessarily promise, which just like pot, meat, kettle. Like, first of all, he's like, it only works when I do that. You can't do the same thing that I do. No. That's my line.
And they're both like that with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like to Abby, his fiance is Abby. And like, just the vitriol that is in his voice when he says this is so funny to me.
It's dripping with like disdain. His fiance is Abby. Just like,
and Bobby is just like, okay. That was
funny. Just like,
he's like,
okay,
I did not ask to be in the middle of whatever marital dispute is happening. Like,
it's so funny because like now Bobby has to be like extra protective over Buck because Buck is way too close to it. And it's just like the way that Bobby and Eddie are kind of like on the same side in this scenario too. Like even after Bobby finds out that it's Abby's fiance, it's just like, you know, Bobby gives the whole thing about, you know, you can't just rush into dangerous situations and assume it's going to be okay. Tired of being on the wrong side of the hospital wards. And Buck's like, I'm not Athena. It's a risk I'm willing to take. And they just keep going, like snipping back and forth. And he's just like, enough, like a son-in-law.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was done. He was so done.
He was done. And he was also like,
those Eddie and Bobby parallels, man.
I know.
Bobby's like, I didn't ask to be in the middle of your marital dispute. And Eddie's like, I didn't ask to be in the middle of your father-son dispute.
But it's also like Eddie is giving like, you know, dad's favorite, which is the son-in-law. I know you've said that multiple times.
Because he is.
He is, yeah. So it's just like, it's so funny because this is such a familial, like, argument situation. It's so funny. And I love everything about Eddie's delivery of his fiance's Abby, and Bobby's just like, okay. It kills me every time. But like, it's so
it's
good.
Just so it's extra funny, but also like
Devastating.
no, yeah, but it's just like looking back on it with a season 4 finale lens,
Yeah.
which obviously I do not think that they had any idea of yet.
No.
Like definitely like the writers, Ryan didn't. So I don't think that went into the acting, right?
Yeah.
But like we're
No, they were
looking
just
at it like
choices
in
made.
universe, right? We're looking at it like in universe. Like he just put Buck in his will to take care of their son if anything happens to him. And then like a couple weeks later, he's doing dumb shit.
Buck is doing this risky rescue maneuver on like a train that is not secured.
Nope.
Because he wants to save his ex-girlfriend's fiance.
Oh yeah.
Which
who
is
was
Buck.
fucking terrible to him. And it's not like, again, it's not like Buck wouldn't have done this anyway, but it's the fact that like that reasoning is there behind it. And Eddie is just like that. I think that just really contributes to why he's so fucking done with the situation. Cause like he's trying to like have Buck's back and like be understanding of like just like how he operates and how he's feeling the situation until he's like, okay, no, you're not gonna fucking like kill yourself for this woman's fiance.
Yeah. I think though it's also kind of important to look at how kind of like bolstered Buck was to find a way, because he is Evan Buck find a way Buckley, especially after he found out that Sam is a dad and has two daughters at home. And I forget if Eddie found that out, but Buck said that to Bobby as well. So like on one hand, like is going to honor that because he doesn't want anybody to not have a parent, because he also knows how bad it is to basically have neglectful parents. So like that's one thing that's just on him. He also knows now what it's like to lose a child almost because of the tsunami. And he would never want it to be the other way around. I think he's also so he's putting himself in that shoe, like as a parent and wanting to be there for your kids sort of thing. And he says this to Bobby as well. And I think like Bobby can understand that too, viscerally. And also with Eddie and him going down the well because he made a promise to a lady to save her kid. Like it's all kind of tied in that same thing. Like they all are coming. Buck is coming at this from both like a son and a father.
Yeah.
And this is one of like, he was never going to give up anyways, but this is even more of one of the reasons why like he wouldn't give up. And also just the fact that I think it's really interesting, you know, especially when we see Abby on the phone with Sam's daughter after we know that he has kids. So it puts Abby in role of stepmom, right? Which is really interesting because she's gone and lived her life, gone and done her things. She's come into a family and basically adopted these two girls as her own, right? Which is the same thing that Buck has done with Eddie about both of them moving on to like
single parents. Yeah.
Single
I
parent
caught that too.
Family situations. And I
calls her when something's going wrong with their dad and they can't get a hold of him. Like Christopher.
Yeah,
calls
in
Buck.
5. Yeah.
Or just shows up at his place when he's upset.
So I think it is really interesting that they decided to give Abby a fiance, but a fiance who is a father, who is a parent.
Interesting.
Because it really kind of puts Abby and Buck like they found who they were supposed to be and they found their person. And it's interesting because people already have children that they've kind of taken as their own, or we can assume that's the situation for Abby because they're getting married, you know, same thing. Just wanted to point that out, but getting back to the other stuff.
Wait, so no, because like I did think about that and like I was wondering, because Buck loves to, or he likes to do things for people. Like he loves to feel needed and he likes to do all these grand gestures. And it's always like something you know, like he gives so much of himself, and it's just like I feel like Abby, like I don't think this is gonna be a very popular comparison, but sometimes I was like, because how Abby explains what she felt like, how she was always, you know, what is the quote that she says in that fucking part?
She says it
bench.
like her life was revolving around everyone else's problems.
Yeah. So like I feel like Abby at that point, like it's kind of like a jaded version of being someone of service, I guess. So like she's done it like all of her life. So I was trying to put them like kind of like parallel them together, and then how like they've moved on to basically focus on their single dads, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I
they
mean,
they moved on, and like they've found like their person that kind of also gives them kind of like
and greater identity beyond
their
I think
job.
it also parallels her in an even more unflattering way to Eddie, who has also been someone whose entire life has always been about other people. It was about his sisters, then it was about serving in the military and providing for his son and being a father, and it's literally never been about him.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and Eddie found himself at the 118, just like she had to find herself like on Eat, Pray, Love journey. But yeah, I definitely see it both ways. I do think Abby and Buck have very kind of similar trajectories, like in slightly different directions in that way, because, you know, when we met Buck and kind of up until, you know, some point during season 3, firefighting was his entire identity, was the helping people, and he's learned to grow beyond just firefighter, and that's what she's had to do as well. So it is interesting that they both end up with people, with families and children that they can call their own.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I think like maybe you could compare where Athena is right now to like where Eddie was in the aftermath of the shooting, and how like Bobby is so certain that like she was just going to get back on the horse, so to speak.
Oh my God.
Right. And like everything was going to like be fine and go back to, and go back to normal. Right. Because that's just like who she is. And that's like what Buck assumes about Eddie too. So like, even though that's the person that they know best, like that's their partner, they still are missing what's going on, you know, inside their heads with the trauma and how they're responding to it.
Yeah. I also just think it's so interesting for this entire episode, like Buck and Eddie were attached at the hip, like quite literally. I think the only time that we saw either one of them without the other was when Eddie was dropping Christopher off for the camp bus. Like they were really giving sold as a set, do not separate. Like they were, every single thing was them together. They were doing the rescue together. They were talking about camp together. They were being married.
And I know we touched on it, but I do just really want to like draw attention to it, because Eddie watched Buck the whole time at the call, like once he realized, you know, Abby was in the mix like a fucking hawk, but he especially was the most eagle-eyed when she was there. And the faces he makes in the background
are so good.
Are just so funny to me, because he's just so, I don't know, like we never see him like that. Like it's very rare that we just see him just like, well, locked in 100%, just like,
you know, when those rare moments pop up.
Well, yes.
Are when Eddie has to interact with Buck's girlfriends.
Significant others. Yes.
Yeah, significant others.
He's judging them and weighing them to find out if they're worthy, and they can never lift Mjolnir.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much. But like that is kind of when Eddie gets the most visibly judgy towards people, because he's a very like understanding and a very like warm individual until he has to interact with Buck's love interests. And it's so interesting, because this is the precedent that's being set, because all of season 3 we haven't seen Buck with anybody. We barely saw, what's her name from season 2? Allie.
Allie. Well,
yeah. So we barely saw her. So we didn't really get to see her interact with anybody either.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that Eddie is clocking everything that's going on between Buck and Abby is setting precedent for Eddie, like you said, being eagle-eyed and like watching like a hawk to any of the other significant others for Buck. And it's just so interesting that this is like what was going through his head. Like,
she's a shit person.
To make these faces. Like, why were these the decisions made?
Serious though. Like, I mean, if it's someone that like, okay, I know this is the slow burn part, but like, actually it wouldn't matter if it's somebody that I care about and like they're being they're seeing again this person that really fucking hurt them. I would be judging. I would be giving people that person a side eye. I would definitely just shit. I get
Scorpio.
Oh my God. No, literally yesterday I was giving someone a side eye just based off of like a small interaction with them because of how they like, I don't know. I would just judge people. It's just this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think he's in his full right to just make all the faces that he wants.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because of like what he knows and just based off of the interaction he's just watching right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so,
yeah.
I think then it is interesting that this is setting the precedent because he knows how badly Abby has hurt Buck in the past. I think then that is just kind of the persona that he takes on when he's interacting with current girlfriend or boyfriends of Buck's, because this is the reaction of someone who has already hurt Buck. But when we see him, like when Buck is with Taylor or something, it's the same kind of face, even though Taylor hasn't hurt Buck like that yet. But he's almost like preparing for it and like making mental notes of like the wrongdoings that once they're done, he'll be like, don't text them because ABCD, here's my list of all of the transgressions they have made against you. And I will
take your phone away from you if you try to.
Exactly.
They are not worthy. Stop it.
No.
Thank you.
No Mjolnir for you.
No,
because it is his introduction to Buck is this person who is like the most jaded version of this person that he knows so well now.
Yeah.
And so his introduction to Buck was the aftermath of this relationship. So yeah, he is going to be very weary and prejudging. Anyone else who tries to slide into that position to potentially put him back again. Into exactly.
So kind of like Buck is being overprotective of Chris, Eddie is being overprotective of Buck, having his back in that way.
And we did talk about it in Buck's section, but after Eddie's watching very closely all of this and says nothing until the ambulance finally leaves with Abby and Sam inside, and she looks back, and then Eddie is looking at the ambulance and looks back at Buck and is like, "Are you okay?
You good, bro?
You good?" And Buck's just like,
"On to the next.
What's next?"
Yeah. And just like stalks off, like walks away, and then like Eddie does follow him.
Yeah,
because I mean they're partners, so they're like on the same things.
But he takes a beat before he does.
He does, but it was really kind of like a, "Are you?" I think it was a layered "Are you good?"
Yeah,
because I think it was "Are you okay emotionally? Like right now, are you good to continue working, or do you need a beat before we get back into the fray?"
Yeah.
Right.
Like, are you? Do you also need to talk about it?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you want to talk about it? Just like, opening that door for Buck. And Buck's just kind of like, "I'm ignoring the door right now."
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, I mean, that's why I said earlier, like, he really took on that role to be like his support and obviously on the job, but also like emotionally and just to like keep an eye on him to see if there's going to be like a potential crash out too.
Yeah, he was having his back as a work partner and a partner or a best friend.
Yeah.
Both at the same time.
All the things. All the things. More ways than one. There's so many textures.
God. I think that's the perfect way to end this.
That is. Anyway, what a season. Our next episode, I think, is a season 9 episode, but our next season 3 episode will be the last one, our season 3 wrap.
Yeah.
And then season 4, which I'm so excited for.
We didn't have any.
No.
We didn't do it for
MIA.
Well, we didn't Juan Carlos.
No.
Oh.
Because that would just be mean if we just did one of them.
Okay. All right.
Remember, don't send your kid to summer camp.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you. Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to our Discord community, full reaction videos, and even more exclusive content.
And if you really want to make our day, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Please come yap with us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.